The morning dew still clung to the ancient oak trees of Pinewood Wildlife Reserve when a gasp of amazement broke the peaceful silence. In the small veterinary room, Dr. Elaine Foster held in her palm the unimaginable Sierra's sixth bobcat cub, so tiny it fit perfectly in her hand, weighing only 62 grams, with skin so pale it was almost translucent. It had been 61 days since Sierra, a female bobcat rescued from an illegal hunting camp in Montana, began labor. The first 5 cubs had been born healthy, but the 6th one was something unprecedented in modern veterinary medicine. Smaller than a quail egg, less than a third of the normal weight for a newborn bobcat. Every statistic indicated this creature could not survive. Dr. Elaine, 47 years old with 20 years of experience, looked at the tiny creature in her hand. In what seemed like an eternal moment, she saw it, a small movement, a weak breath, and a resilient flame burning within this tiny life. Sierra's eyes reflected a wordless message. She had fought to bring all her children into this world, and now it was humans' turn to continue that fight. In the early morning light of a spring day, a silent struggle for life began, a struggle that would touch the hearts of millions and forever change the definition of resilience and hope. The small veterinary room at Pinewood Reserve transformed into a special care unit in less than an hour. Professor Arthur Matthews, 68, a leading researcher in wildlife physiology, stood silent as he gazed at the creature in the incubator. His blue eyes, behind steel-rimmed glasses, widened with undisguised astonishment. The lowest recorded birth weight for a bobcat was previously 124 grams, and that individual hadn't survived beyond 36 hours. The tiny bobcat, now named Hope, lay amid a network of electrodes and sophisticated tubes. Ryan Martinez, 29, with surprisingly steady hands, set up a system to deliver micronutrient solution through the smallest gastric tube they had, a device originally designed for newborn rodents, never before used for a bobcat. The first 48 hours passed in extreme tension. The team worked in shifts. No one left the room for more than 15 minutes. Sierra, Hope's mother, was returned to her 5 healthy cubs, but constantly paced near the veterinary room door, emitting worried calls. Jessica Wu, the 35-year-old animal behaviorist monitoring Sierra, noted this behavior in her research journal with the simple phrase, "A mother always knows." On the second night came the greatest challenge. The monitoring screen suddenly emitted a piercing alarm. Hope had stopped breathing. The room fell into deadly silence, with only the monotonous beep signaling danger. Elaine didn't hesitate for a second. With hands steady to an eerie degree, she performed emergency resuscitation with a micro-syringe containing a special cardiac stimulant, the needle as thin as a hair entering Hope's chest. 40 seconds passed like a lifetime, and then a beep, then another. The weak but steady heartbeat returned to the monitor. Elaine collapsed into her chair, tears flowing uncontrollably. A skilled surgeon with thousands of successful cases before now trembled, as if she had just witnessed a miracle. By the dawn of the 3rd day, Hope was still alive. Not just alive, but beginning to respond to stimuli, turning her head toward sounds, trembling when touched, and attempting to suckle tiny drops of special milk from the micro-syringe. News began to spread throughout the wildlife conservation community. Experts from across the country flocked to Pinewood, bringing specialized equipment and invaluable experience. On Elaine's desk, a thick folder with the red inscription, "Not viable," had been crossed out and replaced with a single word, handwritten in blue ink, Hope. In her 2nd week of life, Hope had gained 15 grams, a small achievement for any other animal, but a miracle for this fragile creature. A 24/7 feeding schedule was established with a special formula developed by Dr. Sarah Okafor, Cornell University's leading nutritionist for wild carnivores. Each drop of milk was calculated with precise protein ratios. Too much would stress the undeveloped kidneys. Too little wouldn't meet growth requirements. Each hour was carefully documented in a journal growing thick with numbers, charts, and medical symbols. Sierra's behavior changed everything we understood about wildlife. Separated from her smallest offspring, the mother bobcat developed an astonishing habit. Whenever staff brought cloths carrying Hope's scent to Sierra's area, she would carefully lick them clean, then place them with her 5 remaining cubs, as if trying to integrate her absent child into the family. Jessica Wu spent hours documenting this behavior, completely contrary to what science knew about bobcats, who typically abandoned the weakest cubs to focus resources on the healthier ones. On day 16, Professor Matthews proposed a bold approach, giving Hope a brief period with Sudarina, her mother and siblings, under strict supervision. Elaine hesitated. Her veterinary instinct wanted to protect Hope from all risks. But her researcher's intuition understood that there were biological connections that technology couldn't replace. The first reunion was set up as carefully as surgery. Sierra was brought into a separate space with 2 of her 5 cubs, the gentlest ones. Hope lay in a small ventilated incubator placed near Sierra, but still protected. When Sierra saw Hope, silence enveloped the room. Everyone held their breath in anticipation. Sierra approached, her nose pressed against the clear glass of the incubator. She made a soft sound, a call reserved exclusively for offspring, rarely heard even in observation conditions. Hope, although too weak to move much, responded. The tiny head turned toward her mother's sound, and a feeble cry, almost inaudible, echoed in the still space. No one in the room spoke. No one dared break the sacred moment when 2 beings, one who had endured so much pain in her life, one who had just begun her fight, connected through the world's most ancient language, the bond between mother and child. After 10 brief minutes, Hope was returned to the special care area. But something had changed. In the next 24 hours, Hope began to drink milk more vigorously, respond more positively to stimuli, and for the first time, opened her eyes, a pair of cloudy blue eyes filled with vitality, looking at the world. Meetings between Hope and Sierra became a daily routine, each session lasting a little longer. By the 3rd week, Hope, still extraordinarily small compared to her siblings, could be placed directly beside Sierra for short periods. Sierra, with amazing gentleness, would lick her smallest cub softly, careful not to disturb the medical devices, still attached to Hope. Oh, the scientific community was officially perplexed. A species known for its harsh survival instincts was displaying a level of care and adaptation previously only recorded in some higher primates. Daily medical reports distributed to the international team of experts monitoring remotely were filled with signs of scientific amazement, unexplainable, never before recorded, and most frequently, miraculous. Hope had gained nearly 100 grams, still much smaller than normal, but a giant step forward for a creature that once weighed only 62 grams at birth. The first signs of the characteristic spotted bobcat coat began to appear, replacing the initial thin, delicate fur. As Hope entered her 2nd month of life, the story of the tiny bobcat spread far and wide. From a purely medical experiment, Project Hope had become an international media phenomenon. National Geographic sent a film crew to Pinewood with special equipment, allowing them to capture images of Hope without the strong artificial light that could harm her developing eyes. On social media, hashtags #YakHopeLives and #Tiniest Fighter spread with dizzying speed. Daily updates on Hope's condition attracted millions of views. Photos of Hope lying in Elaine's palm or nuzzling against Sierra became symbols of hope and mental strength. Pinewood, once a small reserve with a limited budget, suddenly received a wave of donations from around the world. Pharmaceutical companies and medical equipment manufacturers voluntarily provided their most advanced products. A manufacturer of incubators for premature human infants collaborated with Professor Matthews's research team to design a miniature version specifically for wildlife premature cases, named the Hope model. The team caring for Hope continuously expanded. Students, volunteers, and specialists from everywhere applied to join, creating a multinational community united by a common goal: helping a tiny life exist and thrive. On the bulletin board in the break room, cards from children everywhere piled up, drawings of a tiny bobcat with touching messages. "Keep going, Hope. You're smaller than my pinky finger, but stronger than giants." In week 6, a critical milestone appeared. For the first time, Hope could stand on her own feet. Shaky, unsteady but standing. This moment, captured by 24/7 surveillance cameras, became a viral video with over 20 million views within 48 hours. Tearful comments from around the world flooded in. If Hope can stand up, so can I. A woman undergoing cancer treatment wrote, "Every time chemotherapy exhausts me, I watch Hope's video and tell myself if that tiny creature can fight, so can I." Elaine, who had now become a familiar face on national television with regular updates on Hope, received thousands of letters from people everywhere, from patients fighting disease to parents of premature babies to people going through difficult life phases, all saying the same thing. Hope had given them courage to continue. Dawn on the anniversary of Hope's birth. Pinewood Reserve was no longer a small, little-known place. It had become the Pinewood Hope Center for Wildlife Research and Conservation, with modern facilities and an international team of experts.